Everybody, it is Romania Black, and we are on Natsume's Book of Friends, Natsume Yujin-Cho, episode 17. And last week was so good. The last two episodes have been really, really good. I've really, really enjoyed them. But yeah, went to a hot spring, had lots of fun, got some more Natori and Natsume bonding. It was a great time. It was a great time. But now we're on episode 17, so I'm really super excited. Before we dive in, I want to take a little flashback to episode 13 with Sunspots, who has a comment talking about the fireworks scene at the end of episode 13, because that was our season finale, and seeing Natsume standing there with Tanuma with him, and there was the big yokai in front of him. And Sunspots brought up a really good point, saying that it wasn't Natsume seeing the joy of the fireworks that he was like relishing in that moment. It was him looking over and being able to see Tanuma enjoying the fireworks and the fox spirit and taking delight and joy in their experiences. And I can kind of relate to that, because I used to do competitive public speaking, like in college. It's a thing. It's called forensics. I used to do it in college, and then I now coach, actually, a team of my own alongside two other coaches. We coach together. And I will say, being on the other side of it, even though I took a lot of joy in competing, and of course, whenever you compete, you enjoy doing well, there is something so wonderful about coaching and being on the other end of it and seeing the joy of them as competitors and seeing them enjoy it. So I kind of get Natsume in that moment of just enjoying other people's joy and kind of feeding off of it, because it's infectious. You see other people do well and you kind of get inspired by it. It's great. So yeah, I love it, right? But they also pointed out, the idea that Natsume, he wasn't exactly looking out for himself, but Tanuma finally gave him the solution that he needed to kind of solve the problem in episode 13. And I think that's something that kind of traces back even to last week with the episode with Natori, is that Natsume's come leaps and bounds in terms of his character, but he also is still, he's still learning, and there's still little things that are being pointed out each week with what he's doing. And I'm really excited for Natsume's growth, honestly. I'm really excited to see where it goes. I'm excited for his character, and I'm excited for his interactions with other yokai and Natori and others that are similar. So yeah. But before we get started with this episode, I want to give a quick shout out over to our philanthropy tier over on Patreon to thank you all so much for your support, not only on YouTube, not only on Patreon, but supporting the channel. It really means a lot. So special thanks goes out to Alex Cornejo, to Anime Annie, to Be Happy, to Bryant Reed, to Dana, to Danny Donmai, to Danger Zone, to Davarin, to Destiny Marie, to Damage 3245, as well as to Ichu, to Eric, to Fisho, to Ghostly Turnip, to Curie, to Elfreya, to Linden, to Matthew Palfinier, to Murphew, to Nameless Monster, to Nicholas, to Sunspots, Trails, Translucent Men, and Shimoyama. Thank you all so much for your support. I greatly appreciate it. All of my love! Why are you being so silly, dogs? I just gave them a snack, and they're being ridiculous. So, as per last episode, I am going to have this on timer reaction. There is going to be a countdown, and then hopefully we'll have the PIP at least down below that you all can look and at least be able to follow along. But I'll try to do, oh my goodness, a little bit at the beginning to kind of show you all in the moment where I'm starting. So we're not going to waste any more time. My dogs are being silly, but they're going to have to get over it, because we're starting Natsume's Book of Friends here in 3, 2, 1, and let's dive into episode 17. Oh my God. Guys, be nice. I'm glad the OP is going on. Be nice to one another. What are you being all snarly for? No. They're both at my feet, and there's not enough room for the both of them, but they need to calm down. They just got things. Y'all shouldn't want anything else. Be nice. No. What a bunch of ridiculous little beans. No. My dog has his one toy here, so I'm actually, while this OP is going, gonna get out of here. Ruby doesn't want Huckleberry to play, and Huckleberry wants to play, and I'm like, I got a reaction to do, you goons. Yeah, no. Oh my God. I just want to watch Natsume in peace. Please and thank you. I mean, we have till what? Episode 26? Is that right? Probably. Until we possibly... I mean, this OP is going to last the whole time, I'm sure. I didn't look to see if anything else was added. Oh, but those little ones are from the one episode, weren't they? Yeah. What else are we getting now? A bird's nest. Okay. That little chimey music, it's so sweet. And one's left. Oh. No. All you ever think about is eating. Really? How did Natsume notice it, but Madara didn't? Yeah, it looked like one of Tori's yokai. What does it say? What is it? What does the character say? A chick hatches. There's supposed to be one egg left, right? Did the yokai curse it? Huh. Yeah, she left with the other 4. Don't be hurting yourself, kid! Huh. I'm surprised she didn't ask why he was in the tree with the nest. Huh. Oh, don't touch it. Oh, that animation was actually really cute. Oh. Put it under Madara! Oh my god! Yes! Don't you eat this egg! And he didn't even notice! Ah! You're not busy, right? King of Fools! I mean, he is not wrong. Oh! His little tail wagging your Oh, it changed. Why did it change? Yeah. What did it change to? It won't tell us. Is it supposed to be gibberish that we can't understand anyway? Because it was left behind. Oh, there's Sasada. Oh. Oh my god. No, don't break. Quit that. Yeah. He only did it because you were there. Aw. Like it's getting ready to hatch. Oh, that's so cute. Well, a bird. Don't be counting your chickens before they hatch. I wonder if a yokai, like, spirit possessed the egg. Oh, there we go. Oh, he's so handsome. Oh. Is it a countdown? Did they possess the egg and now it's going to hatch with, like, a yokai inside of it? Oh, it is bigger. Wow, it did get bigger. What does it say? come. Oh. Be nice, you two. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, so it's a countdown. Yep. Yes. Yes, it's gonna hatch. Oh, there we go. So can you see me? Ah, I love it. Is this your humble abode? Well, I've... Oh. Oh. Mm. Oh, wow, and the scar there. Oh. Well, you'd be surprised that a mere human would. Ooh, I love it. My cat servant stole it. Flights of fancy. Ooh. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Interesting. Oh no. Ah! The withdrawal. I like that he put it in a little... I love that he put the egg in a little, like, napkin. Or is it like a test? Maybe. Who knows? Oh, wow. Are you projecting onto the egg? That's not the egg, you moron. Madara. Couldn't go through his withdrawals. Did he tell him about the yokai? Oh. Where are you at, Natsume? Uh-oh. Oh, okay, good. I was like, what, did he come back home? This should be the last day. Oof. Yeah. What's been with him this last week? It's on his butt. Oh my god. I love that his tail holds it. Oh. Oh. Oh my god. Or is it going to be a yokai? Oh. Oh my. Oh. It's a chick spirit. Oh my gosh. They both were like zoned out for a second. Like, what do we do? Oh my god. Wait a minute. This is this little chick baby. Of a yokai. Oh. Oh. That's why it looks like Natsume. Natsume! Hold on! Oh, the little robe. Man, Natsume is a seamstress. Oh my god. Look at it! Oh my god. And none of that! Oh my god. You'll get sick! You'll get alcohol poisoning. Aww. Ah! Because that's what you are! Oh my god, it's so cute! Well, he did warn you. So it's a dragon. Oh my god, which explains the little horns. The takoyaki. Aww. I want one of those. Yes, please. Oh my god. I love it. Aww. He's like, I'm gonna take it anyway and give it to my little dragon god. Oh no. Oh. Did it make that mess? Oh my god. It's so freaking cute! I can't! First the bunny and now this little tiny thing? Oh! Oh, it made a vase. Oh, a nest. Mm. Oh! Oh. Oh. Oh my god. It's so tiny. But it's supposed to turn back to its original form, right? Oh, wow. He's definitely a dragon. Oh. Don't bother. I already have! Eggy! Ah! You little runt. Oh. Oh. Oh, Eggy. Oh. And Natsume kept sewing some dang clothes. Went into the design challenge already. Oh. Ooh. And he's back. Oh. A rat. Mm. Oh! Ooh! Oh, okay! We got Natsume! A yokai. Oh, how impudent! How rude! Is it a swine or a raccoon? I love that nobody gets Madara right. Oh. Oh. Yeah, why won't he eat? Are they supposed to go off on their own? Oh. 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 But what's the reason? Oh. Oh. I love the design of Nezumi. Oh. Oh, but that's not true. Oh, honey. Ooh. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. I was like, he was gonna let him hit him with the sword, but no. Oh. Oh. Oh, shit. Wow. No. Oh. Oh, shit. No. Oh, my God. It's like Godzilla and Mothra. Well, that is a huge dragon bird. He's like, I warmed you under my butt for all this time. Oh. Just blip. Just dropped him, bluff. Oh. Oh my gosh, it's like Ho-Oh from Pokemon. Just across the sky. Oh. Feels very Spirited Away. Oh. Yeah, projecting just a bit. Hmm. Oh. Oh. I'm not as sad anymore. Yeah. Oh. 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 Guess that one isn't on the menu tonight. Ah! The sound effects from Adara. Oh. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh. Oh. That's me wondering if you had an effect on that damn bird. What about that a bird's effect on you? Oh. Hmm. Oh. Oh, that episode went by insanely fast. What? How? How did it go by that fast? How? How is that even possible? That is wild to me. I feel like we just started it. Oh my gosh. Okay. How bizarre! How wild! Wow. That was so sweet too. I'm sorry that this season is packing on the cute factor. The cuteness of all of this is just insane to me. It's so cute. I cannot handle the cuteness. Oh. All right. Fine. Oh. My heart is just like. Oh. Oh man, what a good episode, y'all. I honestly think this season is trying to vie for how cute can we make these yokai? How cute can we make them? Because they're pretty damn cute. I don't know about you all. So this episode, the discussion may not be long for it because it's a pretty in the moment episode. There's some elements I definitely do want to talk about, but we'll get into this baby bird. I didn't know exactly from the moment we had the nest like how this was going to go. There is some interesting talk here. I'm watching March Comes In Like a Lion at the same time I'm watching this series. And there is like a comparison that's kind of similar between both. In March Comes In Like a Lion, the main character describes himself, and this is early on in the series, so it's not really a spoiler. But the character Ray, who is kind of similar to Natsume in some regards, they're very different in other aspects, but they are a little bit similar in some ways. Ray describes himself kind of like he brings up this concept of there's a specific breed of bird that will lay its eggs in the nest of other birds, and those birds will raise its babies, and it will kind of like root out the like if for example if it was like a robin, this bird would like have its egg in there with the robin, and then the baby bird would like weed out the robin's own children and would get fed instead. And that's kind of what ends up kind of happening here. And at first I thought that's what was going to happen. I was like, oh, is this a yokai? Because it's like, well, you know, the series is going to involve a yokai. We have an egg. We have in a nest. It's like, well, what can this do to involve yokai? So is the egg going to be like the egg of a yokai? That would make sense. And so I thought that it was going to hatch and like root out all of the other birds, but the birds just kind of all just leave it and abandon it. And it's like, eh. And so If it hadn't been for Natsume, the egg may not have hatched. Who knows? Or if it may have hatched and not taken on any particular shape or form. But I wondered, there was a lot of projection with Natsume in this episode of how Natsume is projecting himself onto the baby bird and imprinting in his own way, shape, or form. But it almost seemed like Natsume maybe views himself as kind of like this entity that just is in someone else's nest, taking up space, but doesn't belong there. Because he kind of describes how both his parents have died, and he's just kind of like flittered from one place to the next, like one nest to the next, and not really had like a steady place until now with the Fujiwaras. So that's so interesting. But I love Madara just eats and drinks. Madara is living the life, like on the hog, just like sake and food whenever he wants. Madara's getting spoiled, right? Quite a bit. I did think that it's interesting that this is maybe like the second or third time in this season so far that Natsume has noticed something that the other yokai or Notori have not noticed. And I think that's interesting. I think that like not only the hanging ghost in the last episode, but this one as well, Natsume notices Nezumi, the rat yokai. So it's like Natsume's noticing things that Madara and Notori are not, which fascinates me. I don't know if that's going to become a thing or what it means, but also the idea that the symbols are like a countdown of how long it's going to take until the egg hatches. And so it's almost like a warning, like I'm going to come back and get this egg. If you don't give it to me, you've got so many days to hand it over. And then we see the mama bird and the 4 babies fly away and leave the egg in the nest. So of course Natsume kind of projects onto the egg, thinking, oh, well, you were abandoned, so I need to take you in because you're like me. You were left behind and you need a home and someone to take care of you. And he kind of takes it upon himself. I like Toko in this series. I like how she's like, you know, make smart choices. Don't hurt yourself. But she lets him climb trees. She's like, go for it. You'll be fine. There are times I tried to get like to see what the quality of this episode was, and it's like 480p. What can we do for season 2? But there are times where the animation looks really, really good. Like there are some close-ups of Natsume's face and definitely of Nezumi that look really good. And Natsume showing more and more emotion as it goes. Like he's excited to get the egg. He makes Madara sit on it. And I like how he, you know, uses some psychology where he's like, well, it could hatch into a pretty big chick for you to eat, you know, and Madara's like, fine. And he stays on it, but he can't, eventually he can't, and he just decides to go out and get sake. But, and I like Natsume is just kind of like, he spends his day sort of distracted at school, being like, I decided to have him warm the egg on a whim. Now, we see Sasada in the classroom with them, but she doesn't say anything. In the manga, it seems like Sasada had moved away. So I'm like, is this just showing Sasada being in the classroom, but she's not bothering him, which seems very un-Sasada-like? So is the show just compensating for it? His friends didn't really have much to do this episode. It was mainly between Madara and Natsume and the egg. And Madara is such a little turd, because Madara was doing fine. He was doing what he was supposed to be doing. He was watching the egg, and the moment that Natsume opened up the door, he was like, I'm gonna break you. And I was like, you were not the whole day. You waited until Natsume got home, and then you decided to. You little turd. What a jerk. But Natsume is just, he's so caring and considerate, right? Like, just, it's so beautiful how Natsume just takes care of things. Like, he took care of the egg, he sewed it little clothes, he took care of, he's took care of the rabbit spirit a few episodes ago. Like, Natsume is so kind and just gentle, and I love that about him, and that he's so unapologetically kind and gentle. Like, he's just watching the egg to make sure that it's okay, and make sure that Madara, like, keeps him with the egg. Now, the moment he started talking about it hatching and what he should name it, I was like, Natsume, this egg ain't even hatched yet. Like, what if it doesn't hatch? I thought that when we see Nezumi, I like the Nezumi yokai spirit. I love that. He looks so cool. I love his design, right? But the egg's getting bigger. Madara seems still skeptical. Natsume wistfully goes about his school day. And then as he notices the countdown, that's when he notices Nezumi, the yokai spirit. I like that Nezumi's design. He looks normal, except when he leans up, he sees a scar on his face. And he's like, did you perchance know of the egg that was in that nest? And Natsume's like, what egg? And he's like, well, my master wants it. And then he's like, oh, he does he? And he's like, of course. He's going to eat it. And Natsume's like, well, that's instantly out. Nope. And he says the meat inside is considered to be the most succulent of delicacies, and the blood drawn from it grants everlasting youth. So it's like a dragon. Everlasting youth from dragon's blood and delicacy meats. Yep. And he's like, I've been waiting for it to hatch so I can take it with me. Because it's not very strong when it hatches, right? It's not a strong egg, and he's kind of like, I'm waiting for it to hatch. I put this countdown here. Why did you didn't take it, did you? And Natsume's like, no. He's like, of course I didn't. And then he says that line, do not be taken by flights of fancy. Like, don't get in over your head. Don't get into things you don't know what's going to happen. Don't get into stuff that you can't predict, which that's this show. So I was like, dude, you're like a season and a half behind. I'm sorry, man, but that's not going to work. Yeah. So I think the Nezumi yokai design is really cool. I'm sad we didn't get to see what the master looks like that wanted to eat these dragon eggs. I'm sad about that. I wondered when this episode was ongoing that whatever's inside the egg he wanted to eat. Before he kind of said that, I was wondering if, because Natsume's whole thing this episode is about hatching the egg and taking care of the hatchling once it arrives. And I didn't know at the time that it was yokai egg from the start. Didn't know that. I thought what was going to happen was that the egg, he thought it was going to hatch, and then when it hatches and the yokai spirit comes up, I'm like, oh, it's kind of like the sparrow episode last season where the sparrow had, I thought it was going to be that the chicken inside the egg died, the bird inside the egg died, and this was the spirit of it. That's what I thought was going to happen, but no, it's a little bit more mystical than that. But he's like, there's a strange yokai outside. I love Madara's note of, can't take anymore, gone drinking. And he signs it with a little paw print. Can't take anymore, gone drinking. I'm like, are you kidding me? Ridiculous. I can't. It's so funny. And I love Madara comes back in and thinks that the piece of paper he folded up was the egg. And he's like, if I give it to him, will it be eaten as soon as it's born? And he's like, and when he says, I know that the egg is alive. It's just trying to survive. Which is so funny he says that because it's a yokai inside of it. And he talks about being alive, which yokai are. They're spirits. They're there. They are technically alive, even though not in the same way that we think of them. I just love that line. It's alive. It's just trying to survive. And that seems to connect so much to Natsume. He's like, I'm here. I exist. I'm just trying to find my place and live in this moment with the Fujiwaras and have my existence. And it's like, yes, it's such a good moment. But yeah, then Madara comes back, curls up next to the ball paper, and Natsume goes back to school. Things change. I feel like in the manga, they just skipped all of this. They just showed us so that we would know a passage of time. But yeah, and then Madara and them are slipped. They're next to the egg. And so I like that Natsume, he's very, very consumed with the egg, and then he immediately leaves, and runs home, and his friends are like, what's with him lately? I do think that is a trait of Natsume. When he gets really focused on something, he gets focused on it and doesn't really give much time for anything else, which we all can probably relate to in some sense, but he's done that throughout this series. When he gets really hyper-focused on something, especially if it's yokai related, he'll just gravitate towards that and focus on it solely and not really think about anything else. So I do feel kind of bad for his friends being like, what's he doing? But then, yeah, while he's waiting for the egg to hatch, I like it under Madara's tail. That's so funny. But then, yeah, it starts to hatch. And he's like, Sensei, the egg. I like that when they look down at it, the egg starts to hatch and you see it and it opens up the little shell. It sees, the first thing it sees is Natsume. Obviously, imagine if it had seen Madara. That could have been a fun time. But yeah, there's a little crack. And then from the light, it bursts forth and it sees him. It technically saw both of them at the same time, but it imprinted and saw him. And then Madara's like, oh, and I'm sorry, but that cute little dragon shell, oh my god, the little baby and it making himself look like Natsume. Oh my god. So cute. And it just made like little baby sounds. And it was just adorable. And that's May and Madara. I like that they kind of look at each other and they're like, oh, what do? We have to find water. We have to find like something. Like, hurry up. This thing's hatched. It's so cute. And then the chick is a yokai called Tatsumi. I love that, like, it's like they're a breed similar to birds or dragons, but they never raise their own kids. I love Nat Madara just playing with it, which is why not many exist. Its form depends on the first living thing it sees. But since they've been raised, once they've raised to a certain stage, they'll take on their original form and leave. And, oh, I love that it's just got like a little napkin around it sitting in that little box. And then Natsume is a little seamstress. Like, look at him being a sewer. It's so cute. Like, he just makes it, he like is sitting there and he sews it a little robe. I'm like, that is, again, the attention to detail that Natsume puts on just to get it. It's so cute. And it just like gnawing on Madara's tail and walking around. He's like, who are you calling Matchstick Sensei? That was so funny. He's like, let me put you down and then fight your guardian. You are a matchstick. I love the little chick just looking back and forth at him and clapping its hands. But yeah, him saying dragons don't understand humans. I thought I knew that. But then we have the Tokiyami moment. I want one of those grillers. I want one of those. They look like a waffle maker that you'd see in like some hotels I've been to. Have like, you make your own waffles and you pour the batter in, then you make the waffles, you turn it over. That looks exactly like that. I want one. Now I want to make my own Tokiyami. I want to make my own and have the little fish pastries. I need to do that. You get pancake batter, you can make it up. It would be perfect. I want to do it now. I need to find one. But one thing I love about Toko in this scene is that you have like the two little fish pastries that turned out, and then she put the napkin over the ones that didn't, that broke and weren't perfect. And I love that she's kind of embarrassed about it. She's like, oh, those didn't turn out. They're burnt and they're cracked. But Natsume takes them to feed them to give them to the little dragon spirit. And it's really cute that he takes them. That's so sweet. Then he gets back up there and sees that the dragon spirit has like tore up a bunch of stuff and made like a little nest. And it just like moving around is the cutest thing in the world. It's adorable. It's so like the idea of they could have made this a little chicken, but instead it's like a little person. I can't. And he's like, here's this nest that I made. And so he's like, he wants him to come down into the nest. And he's like, no, he just wants the first person he saw to love him. And in that moment, Natsume is for sure projecting onto the little dragon bird, because it's talking about he assumes that the little chick wants him to love him, but that's what Natsume wants. He wants somebody to love him too. He wants that love from the Fujiwaras and for someone to also see him. He's like, I can't go in there with you. And when he just like hugs its little head, it's so cute. I can't, y'all. It's too much. And then what does he say there? He's like, I had a dream that I went inside the nest and I found something precious within its walls. That just like that love and compassion. And at the end, he says that what was left at the bottom of that vase was that same love and compassion. He doesn't come out right and say it, but you know that's what he means. Oh, so cute. So yeah. So then we have, as the little dragon, I love that Madara says, well, he's definitely a dragon, but not much of one. Your time with him is almost over. He's like, he's about to go back to his original form. And then they name him Eggy, which is really funny. And I feel like Natsume wanted to keep the little dragon, which is so sad. But yeah, he kept getting bigger and bigger. But then eventually his strength started to wane. Because he needed to leave the nest. It's like he was being held back and his power was draining by being stuck there. And the Nezumi yokai kind of says that. He's like, you're powerless, so you're not letting this dragon yokai flourish to its full potential. You're holding it back. You've got to let it go. And that's eventually what ends up happening. But, of course, Natsume ain't going to let something leave without putting his imprint of love upon it, right? That whole thing with Nezume, with the rat spirit like coming in, I love his design, like I said. But then him coming in to get the chick, and of course Madara is like, "I'll get you," and then he gets slapped instantly against the wall. And he's like, "Well, how exceptionally peculiar." And then I like that the Nezume spirit's like, "Are you a swine or a raccoon?" Tanuki, and Madara's like, "I'll kill you." But yeah, so Natsume runs off with the little dragon chick, and it's so sad. He's like, "Don't you want to grow up and live on your own? Or do you want to stay with me?" And Natsume is so brave in that moment because he could have, I thought he was going to let the chick go and like fly away, but instead he protects it with his body against the rat. And the chick grows up to be this dinosaur dragon bird that chomps on the Nezume yokai and snaps him in half like the dang T-Rex with the velociraptors in Jurassic Park. He was just one thing short of just throwing him aside into a pile of bones. I was like, oh, which I guess the yokai didn't die because the rat spirit was like, let's see how it is. But yeah, I was like, oh my God, that's actually terrifying. Also, it looks like this big phoenix slash kind of like Ho-Oh from Pokemon. But Madara and Natsume managed to get it to drop the rat yokai, and then his eyes change back, and then he basically, there's a Spirited Away moment where Natsume gets to ride on the back of the yokai as it goes over the moon, looking both simultaneously like Ho-Oh in Pokemon and like Spirited Away. Yep. You're just like a bird. And that's when Natsume talks about not knowing his real parents either, and making the claim of always being alone. And I like that he says, he's like, "I wasn't lonely. I was surrounded by people, but it was still sad." Like, and again, Madara always watches Natsume whenever he does these big speeches. He always just has his eyes focused on him. And Natsume's like, "I had people around me, but I was still sad because, I just wasn't happy." And then when he gets left off at home, he's like, "I came to this town and I met a lot of people." And that line where he says, "And now I'm not as sad anymore." He doesn't say he's happy, but he says he's not as sad. So it's still like a work in progress. We're still getting there. We're not fully there with Natsume, but we're getting there, right? Oh. And the bird, I like that when you see the rat yokai who didn't die is watching them fly away. And he's like, He's like, well, I like he does the very 90s, like put the hat down anime, like just smirk and walk away. And you're like, what does that mean? So he doesn't get to get a chick for his master, but yet he's like, "Oh, that kid showed me, taught that bird some respect. And now they're sailing off together. I see how it is." I'm like, what? And then Natsume has to let the bird go. I loved Madara just sitting there, like, taking his little paw and swishing at it, like, making little noises the whole time. It was really, really cute. But yeah, Natsume just, like, had to let the bird leave the nest. Aww. He's like, "I wondered if you struggled to be known and loved." The thing is, I don't think he did. I think because he had Natsume there watching over him and giving him love as a little chick, he didn't have to struggle. He was able to grow up enough to, I feel like the reason why he was like starting to wane in his strength is because he was trapped in that form that he'd imprinted on, and he hadn't released to be his full natural form. And once he did, he gained all that strength back. So it's like, But yeah, it's so sweet. It's so sweet. And he's like, when it was all over, I looked into the nest that Eggy left me. It was empty, but somehow I knew what was left behind at the bottom. Is that love that he had for him while he was there. Aww. Like the idea of the empty nest. It also relates to the fact that you see him go downstairs and eat with the Fujiwaras. And it kind of relates to that idea that the love the Fujiwaras have given Natsume, like in this little nest that's their home that they've shared together. Whenever Natsume leaves, whenever that may be, like once he, grows up or leaves college, whatever, it's the idea that that love that you've cultivated there with your family, once you leave, it's still there. Like it didn't go anywhere. It's still there to be left behind for those people that raised you. And it's like, it's really sweet. This whole episode was just really, really freaking sweet. That was basically it. And then, yeah, you see Madara and him and Toko and all them. Just, oh, so cute. This episode was very, very sweet. I loved the animation of it. I loved the little dragon. I mean, dragons are my favorite mythical creatures. So you put a dragon in front of me and I'm like, I'm there. I'm on it. I'm all about it. So it was really cute. The only thing was it was a very self-contained episode. We didn't see much of the friends or Tanama or really anybody except for Natsume and Madara with the chick, which was fine. It made this episode go by so fast. It was just like waiting for the chick to hatch. And then once it did, it was like all the things happening. And then it grew up and then it was gone. And it was like, oh, it went by so quickly. But I guess that could be a metaphor too, right? For how much time flies. Dang. It was a really good episode. I don't have anything else to say. I enjoyed it a lot. It was super cute. I think the message of Natsume projecting and it all works. So, but this also felt like a little break from the last couple episodes. And so now, what are we on now? We've got episode 14 was 1, 15 2, 16 3, episode 4. So we are about a fourth of the way through, right? We're a third of the way through the season already. Which seems very much like we've done, if we're doing like the 4-act structure, we've introduced Natsume and we've gotten back into the swing of things with the yokai. We've introduced like Notori, his friends, Natsume's friends, and now we've kind of established Natsume's behavior around the yokai and his feelings about them. So now going to the second act of season 2, it's like, what are we going to do with that? How are we going to expand upon it? How are we going to compound upon it? How are we going to make it more complicated? So that's what we're about to get into now. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm also super excited to hear your thoughts down below concerning this episode. So I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with episode 18 of Natsume Yujin-Cho, or Natsume's Book of Friends. Bye!